There are two things in life. One is reality, which probably you can call it as absolute truth. And the second one is my reality or my truth. Let me explain. I see something happening, and when I go back home, I have my own perception about it. I see something untoward happening. When I come back, I am not just capturing the incident as it played, but I also attach my emotions to it. So all of us have our unique map. Let me give you an example. I don't know whether you are a dog liker or a dog disliker. Imagine if I love dogs. I have a dog at home. In my map of the world, dog is a unconditional lover. Dog is a great pet. Dog plays with me. I play with my dog. And when I'm bored, my dog can recognize my emotion. When I'm happy, my dog can recognize my emotions. And I spend a lot of time with my dog. And there is a name that I've given. And it is almost like my family member. And imagine if I don't like the dogs. It's a troublesome animal. Nobody should pet a dog. It bites you. It is dirty. And probably, dog is something that it is not for the house. Okay. Now, dog in its own way is the absolute truth. It's a reality. And my like and dislike is my reality. Now think of people around us. Okay. I have a colleague and I like my colleague. I trust my colleague. Okay. My colleague is absolute truth in his own world, in the real world. But my like is the perception that I'm attaching to my colleague. So in my reality, I like him. In my reality, I trust him. Imagine there is another colleague whom I dislike. He is a different individual, and he is a unique individual in his own ways, in the real world. But the perception that I attach to the other colleague is dislike. So in my map of the world, in my reality, I have a colleague whom I like, and I have a colleague whom I don't like. Now because I like or I dislike, their persona or identity or qualities have not changed. It is the qualities that I have attached to my colleagues. Think of professions. Okay. You might like a profession or you might dislike a profession. Okay. Now your like and dislike is the realities that you are attaching to those professions. Interestingly, think of hobbies. Somebody told that why do people run 42 kilometers marathon? Why do people have to do that? Because in their map of the world, it's too much of a body pain. Why should people run for 3, 4, 5 hours? But for the runner, in his map of the world, it's joy, it's pleasure. He loves the kick that he will get when he crosses the finish line. But for a non-runner, probably it's a bloody pain. And that, both of it, is their own realities, and that constitutes a unique map. All of us operate in our unique maps. So while there is realities outside the world, I have construed realities for myself. It can be food, it can be hobbies, it can be passion, it can be people. Or it can be color, caste, creed, nations, God, anything for that matter. So everything put together creates a unique map for myself. So what is driving my unique map? My upbringing, my attitude, my perceptions, my experiences, my exposure, my access, and what I am gaining out of this entire world. That is constituting unique map. And interestingly, I have my map and you have your map. So communication happens between two maps. So that's why you can pick up a global geopolitic topic for yourself and two people can argue without anything at stakes because one person is operating from his map and the other person is operating from his map. So it's not two people arguing, it is two maps arguing for a particular topic. Let's expand my map and your map. Let me think of this. There is a employee who has got his own map joining an organization. As an organization, there is different realities. Now if this employee is not able to align his map to the organization's values and culture, very likely that either he will quit the job or he will feel alienated. That is because the realities in the organization is not aligned to the person's map. Okay. In the same company, let's say there is one or two leaders who are working together, and if the very reason that they don't gel well together is because their maps are not gelling well together. People don't gel, maps gel. In the same company, there can be two leaders who are good pals, good buddies. It's not that people are coming together, it is their maps are coming together. So it's my map and your map, which are unique, coming together or not coming together. Think of a relationship. When you are in relationship, you are trying to find a lifelong partner. You are trying to see what are the similarities, what are the likes and dislikes, what are some of the common things. When people forge a relationship, when they call it a long-term relationship, after some time, maybe after a few years, if they figure out that both of them operate completely different from within their map, they call it quits. There is likely chance that people accept the differences that the other partner is having, but if they are not able to accept, the other map, very likely they will call it quits. Now think of politics. There is political party A and there is political party B. How are they different? Politicians are human beings. They are also within our own societies. What they call is, we have a different ideologies. And these ideologies is playing on their map. There are two different politicians and two different political parties simply because they are operating from two different maps. Maybe they are doing the same thing after they get elected to the houses. But what is happening to them is, why do they fight? Why do they talk very harsh on each other? Is because they are operating from different maps, at least publicly. Now let's understand, how is this likes, dislikes, perceptions, attitudes, commonalities or differences is built in our map. We receive information from our outside world. Scientifically it is told that we receive about 2 million bits per second, whether it is visuals, audio or kinesthetic or olfactory or smell, the taste, everything. We generally receive about 2 million bits per second. But what happens to all of this information is, I receive it from my sensory organs and I store a limited data of that. Generally we process about 7 plus or minus 2 bits per second. That's what scientifically told. Now what happens to the rest of the data out of 2 million is that it gets deleted. Think of this, you are driving on a highway and you are zooming in 80 miles per hour or 100 miles per hour. Your eyes is meeting everything that is there on the road. Maybe the trees, the plants, the animals on the road, or the sceneries, the signboards, the cars which is racing in front of you, or the cars that is racing back on the opposite side of the road. Or you probably find shops, you find motels, you find pullover spaces, all of that. But you generally don't record and store everything that is meeting your eyes. Everything, almost everything gets deleted. You only keep in your memory few selected data, because if you were storing everything that is meeting your eyes, then probably you would have been completely defocused in your life. Because opposite of deletion is focus. We build our focus because we are able to delete other things. So you will be able to focus on your driving, focus on the road, take care of the safety of yourself and the car and the people inside the car, because you are deleting everything else. If you keep whoring around, seeing everything that is in the road, probably you will miss focusing on what's ahead of you. So the first thing that happens is deletion. Think of professions. If you are a salesperson, if you are a manager, if you are in manufacturing company, if you are an artist, if you are a military personnel, you chose this profession deleting all the 100,000 professions that is there in the world. If you did not delete all the professions, probably you will never be able to select one profession and work on it. You will never be able to build careers if you don't delete. So there is healthy deletion and there is unhealthy deletion. Picking up a career, building on it, working, nurturing your career is a healthy deletion, because you have deleted every other profession. Okay? Now what's an unhealthy deletion? In my career, maybe I have deleted ample opportunities that is probably there globally, or probably that is there, even laterally, even in my own company. If I've discounted it, probably that's unhealthy deletion. Think of a relationship. Healthy deletion is there is one comment passed, or there is something told which is not favorable to your map of the world, and you say, hey, it's okay, you just delete it. That's a healthy deletion. What's an unhealthy deletion is love, compassion, gratitude shown towards you, and you are discounting that part from your family, friends or relatives, or even business colleagues. So when I delete something resourceful, it becomes an unhealthy deletion. Take a very basic example of a healthy deletion. When you are reading with music on, what you are deleting is music. You are still focusing on your reading. When you are driving the car, music is on, or maybe you are having a conversation with one of your co-passenger. What you are deleting is probably the focus on the co-passenger or the music, but you are focusing still on the road. Now think of unhealthy deletion. I am reading and the music is on, but I am not focusing on my studies, but I am humming the lyrics of the song. That's unhealthy deletion, because I am not focusing on my reading. Yeah? Or think of the driving again. I am focusing on the conversation and I am focusing on the co-passenger, and I miss the truck coming in front of me. That's unhealthy deletion. Okay? So what you delete, or what is left out of what you delete, is what you focus, and what you focus expands. So whether I pick the place that I stay, the choice that I make in my careers, simply think of life partner. You have deleted everybody else in this world and chose one life partner. If you were focusing on everybody in the world, probably you would have never got a life companion. Because you deleted everybody and chose one, your focus on that relationship is stronger. So what happens to the stored information or the selected information after deletion is what is called generalization. Generalization is, if I can win golf, I can win baseball also. Now think of switches at home. All these switches, when you turn down, the light is on. How do you switch on a switch? You turn down. So that's a generalization. So what does generalization do is, it gives you speed. So you don't have to think too much, process too much of information to take some action. So I am in my city, let's say I'm in New York. New York people are lovely people. Okay? So when I'm interacting with people, it gives me speed to interact with any stranger, strike a conversation with anybody, because the generalization I have for myself is, all the people in New York are fantastic, are lovely people. Or let's say I have another city in the west coast or in the east coast that I don't like, and I feel that all the people are bad, they're all rude. So when I go to that city, I become more conscious to deal with people, to strike a conversation, because the generalization I have for myself is people are rude. Yeah. So it gives speed either ways, whether resourcefully or unresourcefully. So if I say that people are good, it is giving me an opportunity to strike a conversation like that. If I say people are rude, it is stopping me from striking a conversation. So one is a healthy generalization and another is an unhealthy generalization. And why do we say unhealthy generalization? Is because maybe not the entire city is rude. So it's not that all of them are rude. Everybody is rude, and everybody is rude every time. So when you ask that question, probably you'll say no. Maybe there are few people in the city who are good enough to strike a conversation. So that will probably give you a fair idea as to how it gives you speed. Now think of past experiences, that creates generalization. So if I was bitten by a dog once, okay, or maybe twice, for the entire life, I will have this scare of dog. So every time I see a dog, a small puppy, a big puppy, a Doberman, a German Shepherd, any dog that I see, the emotion that I get is that of scare. So once bitten, twice shy. Maybe not all the dogs are bad. Maybe not all the dogs are chasing you. Maybe not all the dogs are biting you. Maybe not all the dogs are biting you all the time. But having one experience painting all your experiences of life is called generalization, whether healthy or unhealthy. Some of the healthy generalization is I am good enough all the time. Every day is a lovely day. I love people. People work perfectly. It's a healthy generalization. Now think of some of the unhealthy generalization. Employees are sick. They don't work well. People are rude. I am not good enough. Life is boring. Because when you say life is boring, you are taking the entire life that is probably boring. So what do I do with this stored data if I am not generalizing? I will distort. Distort means creating my own meaning. Let's say I venture out, I'm going to office for an important meeting, and I see a mad traffic on the road. And I say, today is going to be a very bad day because there is mad traffic on the road. Okay. Now, when I say that today is going to be a bad day looking at traffic, I associated bad day meaning to the traffic that I see. Or let's say I bought a new phone, and as I started using it, and it simply conks off. Nothing works. And I say I'm very unlucky with new gadgets. So the gadget not working, the meaning that I've created is unlucky. Let's say you take up a course and you fail in one or two modules, and you say that this module cannot be completed unless you cheat or unless you have done something bad, or some stuff like that. Now the associated meaning is unless you cheat or do something wrong, you will probably not able to complete that course. Now completing the course is associated with doing something bad. Okay. Now these are the examples of unhealthy distortion, the meanings that I create. Now you can also have healthy distortion, something that kids do. If I can be a doctor, I can be an engineer. So have you ever asked a kid, what do you want to be, what do you want to become after you grow up? They will give you maybe 5 or 10 or 15 things that they want to become, because they feel that I can become everything. That's a healthy distortion. I can become a doctor, I can become an engineer, I can become an astronaut. In their mind, they feel they can become everything, because if I can do this, I can do that. That's a healthy healthy distortion. So let's say I fail in the academics, I fail in 1 or 2 modules. Healthy distortion is maybe it's a fantastic opportunity to study the subject deeper, know the subject more, in fact interact with more people. Yeah? Now think of traffic. Okay, I'm going to a very important meeting and I see a mad rush of traffic. Healthy distortion can be, maybe I've got enough and more time to prepare for the meeting. I can use the traffic time to prepare for my meeting. Because distortions is the meaning that you create, and the meanings that you create becomes meanings of your life, because that creates your life perception. So I have a colleague, we are working for more than 2 or 3 years. We have a cordial relationship. Every day when we see each other, we say hi to each other. And one day my colleague is walking past me. I wished good morning and my colleague did not respond back. Now I start feeling that maybe my colleague is no more interested in my friendship, my relationship. Yeah? That's an unhealthy distortion. So healthy distortion can be, maybe my colleague did not notice my greetings, or maybe my colleague is going through something and she or he does not have the mind share to wish me back. Now every distortion that I create, I am associating meaning for my experiences or the stored data. And because I am associating meanings, I am creating life perceptions. Now let's relate this to the communications that we have. I have my unique map, and my unique map is driven by the generalizations, distortions and deletions that I do. And you have your map, your unique map, and your unique map is created by the distortions, deletions and generalizations that you do. So when I communicate with you, the communication that is coming to you, you are still processing with deletion, distortions and generalization. So whatever I said for the last 10-15 minutes, maybe you have deleted something, maybe you have generalized something, and maybe you have distorted something. And the level of resourceful or purposeful deletions, distortions and generalizations that you have done for the last 15-20 minutes probably will decide what you have taken away from these instructions. So how do you use the learning of filters in communication, that is generalization, deletion and distortion, in your everyday communication? Number one, unpack your map of the world, that is completely become aware as to how you delete, how you distort, how you generalize, and check whether it is healthy or unhealthy for yourself, and see if you can tweak and make shifts in the way you are doing it every day, personally and professionally. And once you are aware, and when you are conversing with others, can you be flexible enough to relate and align to their map of the world? Because the person with highest flexibility achieves greatest success. So the key to flexibility is becoming aware of your map and then being observant of other people's map of the world. Yeah? And by doing this, what you gain is great amount of influence. So imagine somebody is talking to you about their hobby of either coin collections or stamp collections, and you are not somebody who is into collecting. Okay? Or maybe they are doing even antique collection, and you are a very minimalistic guy. You don't believe in collecting antiques and stamps and coins. But how do you build curiosity or influence with that person is by being flexible to their map of the world, because he is in his world a collector, an antique collector, a stamp collector, a coin collector. And in your map of the world, if you feel that it's just waste of time or waste of energy, waste of money, maybe you will not relate to that person. When there is no link, when there is no bridge, you fail to influence. So the key to start influencing people is to start building bridges. And to start building bridges, you align and relate to other people's map of the world.